With the body, with a discriminatory mind, this would have been over in 10 years. But without the body, without a discriminatory mind, this may take 100 years or 500 years, we do not know. It depends on various things, depending upon the karmic substance, what kind of karmic substance he carries.
A ritual through which you can please certain forces in the existence. In other cultures, generally they have not been properly identified and classified, all of them are dismissed as angels. This is an internal yagna. Without that sense of offering, you will never know the essence of that practice. If you make this a process, it's a very powerful yagna through which things happen in the world. Not just for yourself, things will happen around you beautifully.
If you could handle everything internally, no problem with you. That's the best way to do it. Simply, this is yoga. If you know how to handle this whole machine, all levels of this machine, your body, your thought, your emotion, your energy, your life energies, everything, you know how to handle from within, no ritual for you. Never in my whole life have I ever prayed, you know. But I'm prayerful to anything. If I see a mountain, if I see a rock, if I see a tree, if I see a cow, if I see a man, woman, child, I'm prayerful. But I'm not praying, I've never prayed to any god for anything, ever. So I'm not ritualistic in any sense, because if I close my eyes, I can deal with everything that I need to deal with my life, both internal and external. I want to fix this, I close my eyes. If I want to fix that, I close my eyes. If you do enough sadhana, you can become like this. It's not out of reach, it is available for every human being. They don't pay enough attention, that's all. But if you don't know this, you want to become peaceful, you don't know how to sit still, then what do? I'll teach you one mantra. Okay, say this every day in the morning, 20 minutes, you say this. Now you become peaceful. This is your ritual. If it's working for you, what is your problem? If it's not working, drop the damn thing, do something else. Every day in the morning you took a swim, that became your ritual, you felt wonderful, do the damn thing. Somebody is doing yoga as a ritual, somebody is doing puja, somebody is uttering a mantra, somebody is singing a song. If it is working for them, what the hell is anybody's problem? But what ritual I do, you must also do. There's no such thing. Something is working for me, I'm doing it. It's not necessary you must do it. But if you ask me, suppose I'm somebody who's doing every day in the morning Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, it's working for me. If you come and ask me, I'm feeling freaked, what should I do? Hey, try this Om Namah Shivaya, it's working for me. If you like it, you also do it or you do something else. You do dam, doom, das, pus. But the thing is, it must work for you, that's the important thing. So rituals were fantastic devices created with certain wisdom. Over a period of time, they might have become corrupt in practice. Over a period of time, they might have become tools for exploitation for certain people. But don't throw the baby with the bathwater. We must be able to see what is corruption in this, eliminate the corruption and use the technique. Don't throw away everything that the civilization has learnt in thousands of years of living and think you will reinvent the wheel tomorrow. Everybody will be queuing up at a psychiatrist, just know that. The number of people who are queuing up with mental illnesses today is simply because there is no what we used to call as achara vichara. There is no debate about what is this life, why am I like this, what is the nature of my existence, no achara, no vichara. And no achara, there is no anything. See, if your mothers or fathers did not insist that you must have the ritual of brushing your teeth, what an unpleasant place this hall would be right now. Because out of your freedom, some of you would or a whole lot of you would come here, decide, I will not brush, what is the problem? No, maybe no problem for you, everybody else suffers. If you open your mouth, if you stink, not necessarily because of not brushing, just because of your culture, the way you behave, the way you speak, the way you sit, the way you stand, if people around you suffer because of your behavior, which is happening everywhere, isn't it so? Especially for girls, isn't it so? If you get into a damn bus in the town, because all these things were taught as ritual, this is how you must approach. When we are growing up in our house, our sisters are there, you cannot even address them in singular. You always have to address them with a certain respect, even when they're little girls. We want to fight with them, we want to beat them, but no, you have to address the girls in a certain way. When you grow up with this kind of ritual, now you learn how to treat every woman on the street. Otherwise, look at the way people are behaving, most uncivilized. Uncivilized means what? The necessary rituals of culture are not there in those people, isn't it? So these can be various kind of rituals, social rituals, spiritual rituals, religious rituals, it doesn't matter. Is it working for you or not working for you? That should be the only question.
Essentially, naturally, if death happens, why death is happening is because these life energies are programmed in a certain way. There are different dimensions of karma. One that you're in touch with right now is referred to as prarabdha. This is a certain software. So, a certain amount of prarabdha is there within you. So life process is working it out. If life has to be embodied, it must be in a certain level of intensity, a certain range of intensity, a certain band of like certain frequency, it must be there. If it becomes too intense and goes above, it will leave the body. Then we say, he attained samadhi, because life energies became too intense that the physical body cannot contain it anymore. Or if it becomes feeble beneath a certain point, then it'll slip out. This is called dying naturally out of old age. People just lie down, close their eyes and people died of old age. Nothing broke. Nothing broke. His liver didn't go wrong, his kidneys didn't go wrong, his heart didn't go wrong. Simply life became feeble and slipped out. That means he lived his full term. Whatever this particular life was programmed for, it saw its full course, so it leaves. But very few rare human beings leave because of excessive intensity. A few, a certain number leave because of old age. Most of the others die because something broke. Either you crashed your car, or you smoked yourself to death, or you drank yourself to death, or something else broke, you worked yourself to death, whatever. In some way, you made the physical body inhospitable for life. Something went wrong in this mechanism, now it cannot host a life, so life leaves. But still it is in a certain level of intensity that it could have continued to embody for a much longer period. When life leaves like this, then it cannot find another body immediately, it has to hang. Let's say, No, I don't want to take you or your mother as example. Let us say somebody had, by normal course, he would have died after 10 years. But today, because of excessive work or stress or whatever, his heart broke and he died today. 10 more years were there for him approximately. This all depends how he lives. This 10 years, if he lives in a certain way, it could be worked out in 2 years or it could be worked out in 20 years, it depends on various things. But let us assume there were 10 years approximate life. But he left the body. Because he's left the body, because he's lost the discriminatory mind, because he's lost the ability to perform any kind of karma as such, because of this, these 10 years, maybe 100 years without the body. With the body, with a discriminatory mind, this would have been over in 10 years. But without the body, without a discriminatory mind, this may take 100 years or 500 years, we do not know. It depends on various things, depending upon the karmic substance, what kind of karmic substance he carries. Knowing these things, because most people die of infections and diseases and ailments and things, so we created a whole science as to how to help them beyond their body. We could not help them when they were in the body because we couldn't figure out what is the ailment, what is the disease. Now he did not get the treatment, something happened, he died. Now we want to help him in such a way that he dissolves this quick, that he doesn't hang around for too long. So there is a whole science behind that. So this man for whom you gave the cow money, you are giving him because his great-great-super-great-grandfather knew what to do. So you are still paying him for that knowledge that the super-grandfather knew. But this fool also should have learnt, but somewhere it all got dislocated. Now it's just become a plain ritual that he's learnt a few mantras and you don't know what it is to check. He could be abusing you in Sanskrit. As you felt terrible about him, he must have looked at you and he was abusing you in Sanskrit language. You don't know. Probably you were cursing him and he was cursing you and cow business is happening, but nothing else is happening. So, these things have unfortunately happened because modern societies are becoming more and more superficial by the day, more and more superficial by the day, for which we'll pay a price, here and hereafter. In both we will pay a very big price because we are becoming extremely superficial with the life process. All those things we should not have business have become business, isn't it? See, there are a few things which should never be commercialized. Education, health, spiritual process. These three things should never be commercialized. Once these three things are commercialized, that society is heading down. It may take some time, but it'll head down. We are picking that up in India in a big way now. So we will see an economic boom because cow business will happen a lot for some time and then we will head down. There is no other way. So a few things should be kept off commerce. It's extremely important. That is why we are looking for volunteers all the time. So that dedicated people conduct certain things, not people who are looking for livelihood.
Is this all figment of imagination? No, it is… everything is happening because of certain forces. They identified these forces and personified them and created a method as to how to find access to them. So these yagnas were processes through which you can find access to certain forces in the existence so that you have an advantage of achieving things much more than you would do by your normal strength and capabilities. The word yagna has been translated as sacrifice. So the English word sacrifice you would always understand as giving up something for something else. or giving up something for nothing, that's a sacrifice, okay? Giving up something for something else is commerce. Giving up something for nothing is sacrifice. So, yagna need not necessarily mean a sacrifice. Probably, yagna is a combination of an offering, an oblation, and a sacrifice. It's a mixture of all these three things. A ritual through which you can please certain forces in the existence. In other cultures, generally they have not been properly identified and classified, all of them are dismissed as angels. But here, different quality beings have been identified as different types, and accordingly you call for a particular being for a particular kind of benefit. There is a whole process and science behind it. Even today, people are using these yagas and yagnas. Generally, for a lot of them it may not work because it's not being properly conducted the way it should be. But for many people it does work. There are many people who are hugely benefited by these things. People do achieve what they want to do in the material world by using yagas and yagnas in a certain way. Even though it doesn't matter how educated they are and how much liberation they talk about, even today, 95% of the Indians, if they want to enter a new home, they will do yagas and yagnas before they get in. Only here at Isha we don't do anything because we are a different breed. If you are in a certain level of consciousness and energy, everything that you do is a yagna. You don't have to do a separate ritual, the very way you live is a yagna. So yagnas are of different kinds. Yagna means a certain means to access a dimension which is right now not in your access. One is a ritualistic yagna, that you perform something, an expert in the field comes and does something for you through which you receive some benefit, or you have made your very life process into your yagna. You sit in the morning and you're doing your Shakti Chalana Kriya or your Shambhavi Mahamudra. This is an internal yagna. Without that sense of offering, you will never know the essence of that practice. If you make this a process, it's a very powerful yagna through which things happen in the world. Not just for yourself, things will happen around you beautifully. We have been saying constantly, if 1% of the world can become meditative, the remaining 99% will just pass very easily. Because if 1% of the world really begins to function, every moment of their life, their very life process is a yagna, if they become like this, the 99% will reap the benefit without doing anything about it. One person plants a mango tree, 100 people can eat it. One person cannot eat what comes out of one tree. It takes 100 people to eat it. So similarly, if you have made your life process itself into a yagna, if you have made your life process itself into an offering, then thousands of people can eat out of it. You would see simple women, just they made their life into total sacrifice for people who live around them in their families. They just cook, they serve, they never thought about themselves. What about me never came to them. You see, they are sage-like by themselves. My mother was a living example like this. She was educated enough, but her whole life was just serving her husband and her children, that's all. Never we heard her telling us, "I love you," but such a question never arose. Whether she loves me or not never arose in our minds. Because the very way she lives is in complete sacrifice for everybody around us. And nobody ever uttered anything about it, but in many ways, she was a goddess by herself. Everybody treated her as such. If she has to eat her morning breakfast, everybody in the family would have eaten. Then she will take a part of her breakfast and go to the backyard. She will look for anthills, nest of ants, and she will feed all the ants first, and then only she will eat. In today's mind, people may think, feeding ants, what nonsense. Spray insecticide, isn't it? If it came into the house, if it bit her children, she also did that. But somewhere in her mind, she felt the ants have as much right to live on this planet as she had. And just that little offering, everything is a sacrifice, everything is a yagna.